Good evening, everyone. It's another Thursday night. Welcome to Quantum GK. I'm your host, Donna Reyes. And this evening, we have a very special guest. We have Leonore Saikalov. Hi, Leonore.
Hi, Donna. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, thank you for joining us this evening. Leonore is a data scientist. So, first of all, can you tell us what a data scientist is? And we're going to talk about how you were involved and how that brought you to GK, or maybe it's the other way around. We're going to have a really interesting conversation with you this evening. But first of all, what is a data scientist?
Yeah, sure. That's a buzzword. Everyone's talking about data science these days. But some people don't know what it is because it's just a buzzword. So yeah, I can explain a little bit. It's the science of extracting value from data. So everything that involves data in terms of gathering them from different places, transform them, then building models to understand patterns, predict phenomena, or things that you wouldn't understand otherwise if you couldn't look more closely at the data.
But understand though that you come from a family of musicians, right? So
That
so that's a little bit more like I think on the art side, at least that's what people, would tend to know, right? It's more art than math or science or what have you. So how did somebody like you who comes from a family of musicians ended up with, data science involved with numbers and math and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's interesting. Yeah, both my parents are professional musicians. My dad's a pianist, and my mom's a cellist. And I was the oldest of three, and my parents started doing music with me and wanted me to also play. No pressure, but. And yeah, for some reason I liked music, but I was so passionate about numbers and logic. I would be counting everything that I could count. And it's interesting because I also have a sister who is a violinist now, and we sort of had a similar upbringing, but we had very different interests, although we really get along. So it's interesting. I came across math and science, and it ticked, and here I am.
What do you still play though, for maybe for leisure or for like
I
a
do, not as often as
hobby or
I
something like that?
was that.
Do you still play like maybe for like just a hobby or something like that?
Yeah, I play a little less now. I continued through college. I was part of the orchestra in my school, and I still play with my family. I like to sing with my dad. He can play the piano, I can sing. So I do these things when I'm home. But honestly, with the fast life of New York, sometimes I lose track. So haven't been playing in some time now, which is a bit sad.
So you were born in France. Did you grow up in France?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I grew up in Paris. Um,
Okay.
yeah, my dad's Russian, but my parents moved to France just before I was born, and I spent most of my time there before moving to the US 4 years ago.
You just moved to the US 4 years ago.
That's right.
Oh my goodness. Like I thought you lived here for a long time. Like I couldn't sense a French accent when you
Well, thank you.
So did you speak English growing up in France? I've never been to France. That's why I asked. Part of this is, of course, for our friends' benefit here to know, but I'm really very curious because I've never been to France, and Paris is in my bucket list
Yeah.
of cities to visit. So, but from what I heard, like like if you don't speak French, it's hard to move around and talk to people and stuff like that. And people kind of, frown upon like, people who can't speak the language. Is that true?
This is what I heard too. I think it's getting better, hopefully. These misconception about Parisians being very rude to people who don't speak French, etc. I think it's gotten better, and most of my friends who have gone like have had really good experiences, and you know, it's on everyone's bucket list, but then once you go, like you actually, you know, see how it is and can enjoy it. So yeah, I wouldn't be worried. I mean, of course, we don't speak English as well as you guys speak in the Philippines. That's for sure. I was impressed. I mean, it's just, you know, amazing to be able to communicate with everyone with just English when I came to the Philippines. But I did learn English in school, so that's how I survived when I moved here.
Awesome, awesome. So, okay, so you talked about the Philippines. What brought you to the Philippines?
Yeah, I have a few Filipino friends here in the US and in France. And I have actually a lot of friends who have gone to the Philippines with GK from France. You know, they went to GK villages as part of an internship in a group. And when I finished school, I wanted to, you know, get involved, go on the ground and see how I could help. So I reached out to GK. I didn't really know how, you know, it was structured or anything, but I got in touch with Kuya Dan, and when I talked to him, I knew I had to go. I knew that there was something there that I, you know, could do and use my skills to, you know, do something. I didn't know exactly how it would look like, but this is how I ended up going to the Philippines.
And that's exactly what you did, right? You did use your skills and you offered your skills and talent to Gawad Kalinga, to GK. And tell us about that initiative that you worked on with Dan Bercasio. You're referring to Dan Bercasio, who is now our executive director, right? All right. So
Yeah,
tell us
exactly.
more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we designed a disaster response program in partnership with, you know, people from IT and the, you know, GK leadership, and sort of trying to understand what can we do very quickly when a disaster strikes, in that case, a typhoon, to collect information from the different communities when a lot of the communication means are down. For example, no internet, and most of the messages would be coming through text, and how do we collect all that information, and how do we distribute resources quickly to communities that are most in need.
So at this point, though, you just have you graduated college already when you went, or I know when you went to school. I mean, you have a bachelor's in engineering, right? You studied engineering in Paris.
That's right.
So are you already, you know, did you finish college already at this point? I guess I'm trying to understand what got you interested in that kind of work, or did you, if you already had the background for it at that time?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I did college in France, as you pointed out, and then I actually got a chance to work at the World Bank in DC. And I was doing something a bit similar in disaster response. I've always been, you know, interested in how you can make communities more resilient to something that strikes and you have to respond really quickly. And this is something that I've been working on at the World Bank. We're doing a disaster response program for Morocco against natural disasters. And so, you know, I had this in the back of my mind. I wanted to see how I could, you know, use my background in data science and my passion for disaster response in an environment where I could actually, you know, contribute and help the community. So this is how I ended up at GK. And to your question, yeah, I had finished my master's in data science at the time, and you know, I did my internship at the Boston Consulting Group, where I'm working right now, and I told them, you know, I'm gonna work my whole life, and now is, you know, the time to get involved and go on the ground and see how I could help. So this is how I came to the Philippines.
Okay, so you were already an intern at Boston Consulting Group before you went to the Philippines to
That's right. Mm-hmm.
work. How right. Okay. So that makes sense. Okay. So then your job actually brought you to the Phil. Yeah. Well, you mentioned you have friends who have gone to the Philippines and everything. So, but now it's, that's how it's sort of, I guess, interconnected, right? Your job and what you did for the Philippines. So, okay. So how is it like? Walk us through, like, the first time you visited the Philippines, you've never been in a country before. How was it like?
In one word, it was amazing. No, it's interesting how I came to the Philippines because I talked to Kuya Dan one day, and I think the next day I was on the plane. So, with my backpack and, on my own, and I didn't really know what to expect. I knew that, people had great experiences in the Philippines. I knew friends who had gone to GK, but I didn't really know. So they gave me the name of the person who would come pick me up, and I was just on my own, and this is how it came. And every person that I met at GK was so welcoming and so committed to what they were doing, and it all made sense. And so it was from the beginning when I arrived, and someone from GK picked me up at the airport. So, and then I arrived at the headquarters, and people showed me where I would be living, and I was in the GK dorms with probably 7 other people, and I was the only non-Filipino, and I guess they were expecting me, but I didn't feel like I was a stranger and they would be like, oh, who is this person coming now? I was welcomed right away into the GK community. It was just amazing.
Do you know, or do you remember what city it was that you went to
You mean for?
in the Philippines? Like what part of?
Oh yeah, so I stay in Mandaluyong in the headquarters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's where the dorm was, or no?
That's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's right there by the the headquarters.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I just asked because, a lot of the people who watched our regular program here have not been to the Philippines, or they may have been to the Philippines. Maybe like, I mean, I was born and raised in the Philippines, but I never had a chance to visit the GK headquarters. I know, right? Shame on me, but I never had that chance. And the only village I had a privilege of visiting was GK Enchanted Farm. So you actually had done and had been involved in much more that I've been involved in the Philippines, right? And so that is super, exciting. And I'm sure, people are also motivated and inspired to maybe check it out sometime when they get a chance to come home after this pandemic, obviously. Speaking of, so let's just we've been receiving some comments and shout outs in our Facebook page. Don Vercasio is watching.
Oh, no way. Hi, Dan.
He says hi to both of us. Hi, Don. Thank you for joining me. And then also Christian Cervantes says, good morning here in the Philippines. God bless. And Glenn Carlo Marcelo says, hello, good morning. Good morning to everyone in the Philippines. It's really very exciting when our friends in the Philippines join us here in Quentin GK. And it's 8 o'clock there. It's not, I guess it's not that early anymore. But for some people who work late, that's a little bit, early. And, and I'm so happy that they're joining us this evening to us and more. Yeah, right. Okay. So tell us a little bit more about what you do at Boston Consulting Group.
Yeah, so Boston Consulting Group is a management consulting firm. So, we basically advise companies on their strategies in general and identify strategic business opportunities, how they can, overcome challenges in general. We support, large scale transformations for different clients in different industries. So as we talked about before, I do data science within the, the consulting world. So it means the solutions that we're developing for the clients are going to be data science based. So how can we use the data that they have or the data that we can find to inform better decisions? So yeah, this is basically what we do. And some examples of that, I have many because, the projects are maybe a few months long. So I've been in projects in different industries, but maybe one that I can talk about is one that I did with a healthcare company, and we're basically using data to analyze the complaints that the pharmaceutical company had been getting about drugs that didn't function correctly. Going back to, sort of being more resilient that we talked about earlier, and how can we take these complaints and build a system that can react quickly and to inform better decision. So how can we take all this information coming in and say, these are the most urgent, complaints to address, and these are the ones that we need to report to, the FDA, or that we need to investigate because these people are at risk, and which are the ones that, we just need to give them some advice and then they can, go on. So that's one use of, data in consulting.
This is all really very fascinating to me. When I saw your background and everything as I prepare for this, for this program, for our chat this evening, I was just blown away. Oh my goodness. You finished engineering in France and you have your data science degrees at a master's degree, a bachelor's, or a second degree, master's at the MIT. Oh my gosh. Right? This is just super amazing. And here you are spending your time with us in support of Gawad Kalinga and what we do for the poor, right? So it just really blows my mind. And this data science thing, the first time I heard of it was actually from my old boss, who's also half French. Isn't that amazing? So she's studying, I think she might have finished now, a master's in data science. And, she mentioned about how, this is the study of this will be helpful in businesses and how to grow businesses and all that kind of stuff, right? But now hearing from you how you're able to use the same skill set and experience and expertise to, not only, like you said, like to prioritize, right? What's important in terms of healthcare and things like that, but also in really truly making a difference in disadvantaged communities like Gawad Kalinga. And, and I mean, when was the last time, when was that when you came to visit the Philippines, or you've been involved, I guess actively involved in the Philippines in Gawad Kalinga's work? How many years ago was that?
Yeah, that was the fall 2019.
Okay.
I didn't realize at that time that it was pretty much the last window I could come to the Philippines these days. So, I got lucky that I was able to come at that time. So it was almost 2 years ago now.
But was that wasn't the first time though that you came? That was the last time so far that you.
Yeah, I've only been once. I stayed for 2 months, and
okay.
That was my one time in the Philippines. But I guess I made very strong connections that I'm keeping now. So I feel like I'm still very connected to the Philippines, despite the fact that I can't go right now because of everything.
Well, no one can go right now. So yeah. So we're trying to support. I mean, as we just try to help as much as we can from here, and pray for our our friends in the Philippines who are really on the ground working very hard. We've got we have a comment from Tito Boy Montalibano, Jose Maria Montalibano. He says, business consulting is a favorite of my daughter who heads a company engaging Boston Consulting.
Oh.
Or as a compassionate and concerned employee who cares for others. And I totally echo that, right? I mean, your line of work is usually connected to profitability and all of that of businesses, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, obviously. It just makes it even more special, again, when you're able to impact the lives of the disadvantaged, right? Disadvantaged communities. All right, so, okay, so you mentioned you were there for 2 months. So you lived in Mandaluyong and all of that the whole time?
Yeah, absolutely, I did.
And did you, okay, why don't we show some couple of pictures that you shared with us here. Hold on one second. I hope this is the right one. Just give me a second here. Yeah, okay. Let's share this. Amazing pictures, you guys. All right. This is you. Can you see it?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Is this real you, like on the top of that, whatever that is? How did you get up there? Oh my goodness.
It sounds crazy, right? When I sent it to my parents, they were like, "Are you safe in the Philippines?" But yeah, it's real. It's real. We went. I went with. I don't know if Rachel's watching from GK, but we went together on a hike. We woke up at 3 a.m. and she brought me on a hike. It was like, "Great, that sounds interesting," but I had no idea that I would, end up at the top of this rock. So it was quite an experience, and you can't imagine the number of people who was like, "Oh my God, I knew the Philippines were about, beaches and, islands and all of these things, but I had no idea that you could have this in the Philippines."
So where was this exactly?
It's not far from Manila. It's like I think an hour and a half, I believe, east. Yep.
East?
I think so.
Could it be? And okay, now we're challenging my geography. Maybe Dan would know. Does Dan know where this was? Was he involved in arranging this?
I don't know, but I feel like Dan knows everything.
Maybe Antipolo if it's east.
I think it's Barangay Mascap Rodriguez Rizal.
Rizal. So, okay, so I'm not way off. I'm right there.
Okay.
I was scared to say anything because oh my gosh, my geography is really bad. But yeah, oh my gosh. So are you a mountain climber or something? Do you climb mountains or rock?
Well, Kuya Dan trained me in Manila. We went to do rock climbing a couple of times. So that was really great. But this was a first. I've never been on a mountain like this before. And yeah, I mean, everyone seeing this picture is like, how do you go up there? And most importantly, how do you go down?
Yeah, I think going down could be a little bit trickier, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, there's a trick. I'm sorry for the disappointment, but there's a ladder behind it.
But still, I would like I'm literally like getting sick just imagining seeing this picture and imagining how it was like. Oh wow, my goodness. All right. Okay, so there's another picture that we wanted to share. So this is you. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, absolutely. I went to a GK village in Baler, and for a couple of days, and I had I knew that I would be staying with the family, but I didn't know that again this community would be so welcoming, and I would spend all my days with the children and playing. And when we were lucky enough to be next to the beach, so we took some trips there. It was just a great experience, and I have approximately 150 pictures like this on my phone because the children took the pictures. So that was a great experience.
You blended right in this picture. Like you look like you're really part of the family in this picture. I can felt more, welcomed and all of that. Like you really truly look like you're part of the family. All right, so you continue to be involved in Gawad Kalinga, maybe not as much as a 2-month, obviously stay in the Philippines, right? But you recently joined us in the Young Adult Summit last Saturday. How was that like for you?
Yeah, it was amazing to, see how you can be part of a community and feel so close to people that, you haven't met before, or that are in different places with different stories. In this case, across the US for the Young Summit. But that we share a common passion for trying to, use some of our time to help in the Philippines. So it was really amazing. And I also want to say, I was probably one of the only non-Filipinos in this meeting, but I didn't feel like I was, a stranger. It was the same when I went to the Philippines. No one was looking at me like, who is this person? Why is she here? I really felt that I was part of the community. So that was amazing.
And you can be involved in many other, nonprofits that are also important work, right? But why do you continue to be involved with Gawad Kalinga, with GK?
Yeah, I think it's, a personal story. It's a story where I went to the Philippines. I wanted to help and see how I could, meet people and build connections. And I wasn't disappointed. The people that I met there, I know how, committed they are to helping the GK communities, and it's just so meaningful that for me, it's just, a personal connection that I have now with GK and also with the Philippines in general, that, I just feel connected to that group, and this is how I want to continue helping.
Awesome. And we are blessed as a people because of that. Because, people who are non-Filipino, as you said, love us as a people, and want to be part of our lives. And that, I think, is pretty amazing, pretty incredible. Actually, Tito Jose Maria Montalibano, again, has another comment here. He has a pretty good idea on how you might continue to be involved with GK. He says, Leonor should ask to be assigned to the Philippines. Smiley face. She can use her genius and heart to help companies here. That.
It's funny because I actually went to my company's office in Manila, and I met the head of the office, and was like, you should come here. There are so many things that, are starting, businesses are booming, etc. You should come here. This is where, the future is. So I'm still in touch. And when the day comes, hopefully I can go and participate in the efforts that they're doing there at the office.
Awesome. So you are open to going back to the Philippines and working there, involved in all of that. That is great. That's super awesome. But you mentioned earlier, kind of in passing, when we showed that picture of you on top of that super steep mountain right there. You mentioned your parents asked, is it safe in the Philippines? Was that, was that that's a valid concern, right? Especially for somebody like you have never been to the Philippines. I don't assume you have any relatives there. You probably had friends there, but did you have friends traveling with you when you went?
I didn't. I think, I'm not saying people shouldn't be safe, but I felt safe in the Philippines. And I think, also, it's not that I was just going on my own, explore the unknown. I was coming to GK, and all this, everything that I needed, I got from GK, the support, like you should take this jeepney to this place, and this is how you get, to different places, and come with you, and this is, how things work here in Manila. So, I never felt like I was, lost or unsafe at any point.
Wow, that really truly warms my heart. And I'm sure everyone who's watching us right now, especially those the Filipinos, right, would find that very heartwarming. What you see, how you totally just embrace our culture, us as a people, and how you feel safe. And I can understand that because when you come to the Philippines, that's really part of the culture, is that people are, we're known for our hospitality, And and we welcome people, like our own family and friends. And I'm glad that you felt taken care of and safe. And and but it's also good to point out that, I mean, anywhere in the world, really, right? Even in Paris, for example, I wouldn't think, you don't go, like, just through
Mm.
the streets with no plans or whatever, not knowing where you are, that kind of stuff. I mean, that's really simple logic, right? That you have to, to use proper precautions, kind of thing, and and make sure that you know where you're going and stuff. So I'm very happy that you said that you felt like you're taken care of. So, well, what's next for you? Like after the pandemic, do you have any plans of going back to the Philippines, or any any specific plans you could share?
Yeah, I would love to go back. 7,000 islands is not something that you can visit in just a few months. So I would love to go. I wanted my family to come to the Philippines when I was there, because I really felt like I was living there. When people ask me, oh, like, where have you lived in the past years? I'm like, here, Paris, New York, Manila. Manila, really? Interesting. Like, how did you get there? And, I really felt like I lived there. Part of my journey was there. So I would love to show my family what I was part of when I was in the Philippines. So that's definitely a project. Hopefully it happens soon. And, hopefully I can also go back and contribute in one way or the other in the future.
Is your family in Paris still, or are they?
Yes, they are. My sister's here in the US, but my parents and my brother are back home. So I guess we would, take a trip back to Europe and then take everyone with us all the way to the Philippines.
That's a grand plan, and it's amazing. So they've never been to the Philippines, and you'd want to be their tour guide.
Yeah, hopefully I can do that now.
And are
Uh,
they open to it? Are they?
yes, absolutely. Yeah.
They are. Awesome, awesome. That is super, super exciting. All right. Well, in the meantime, though, while we're all waiting for this pandemic to end, and when it's safe for everyone to be traveling again, how do you plan to be involved with GK USA, with Gawad Kalinga USA, since you're based here in New York?
Yeah, great question. So it's great to see, so much enthusiasm from young people wanting to be involved in GK communities. And so recently, as you pointed out, there was the Young Summit, and we got to meet different people from GK. And we also had smaller groups talking about, how we can get involved despite, the pandemic, the distance, and have initiatives locally or online to be able to help GK. So I have a project. I don't know if I'm allowed to share, but
I'm sure you're okay to share. Yeah, as long as we don't say it's definitely happening and we're committing to, as long as we.
no, I'm sure it's going to happen sometime. The logistics were a little difficult, but my family and I, we would love to organize a concert online for GK. And so we've been trying to figure out the logistics, but because we live in different places, it hasn't happened yet. But hopefully very soon we can organize this and share what GK does outside of GK USA here in the US, and also in Europe where I grew up, and yeah, raise funds for GK this way as well. So that's my secret, non-secret project.
That's super exciting. My goodness. So not only are we, are we blessed with your data science skill, now we get to hear you in concert. My goodness. So definitely keep us posted on that. We obviously want to be part of that not only as GK as a beneficiary, but also join the fun. Oh my goodness. Not that I'm going to sing or whatever, but I can certainly be involved in, the production of it or whatever help you might need, right? So I'm pretty sure, so it's good that we mentioned it in the program so that anyone who might have some ideas who've done virtual concerts in the past could probably help out, right? In terms of, maybe, how to put it together, maybe some technical support, that kind
Right.
of thing, right? So it'll just be more fun. But regardless, I think no matter what, it's going to be fun. It's going to be, super exciting. I'm excited for you. Do you know, like, what is your target date on, or not date maybe, but maybe month or something that when this is going to happen?
Yeah. It has to happen at a time when, my family is together in the same place, because we've been trying to do, live music in different places over Zoom. It's not the best. So, you can broadcast a concert from one place, but not necessarily, have different musicians in different places. So hopefully in the next few months, we find ourselves all together in France and we can organize this.
Awesome. So I've been getting a couple of messages. Tito Boy says that I should help you. Help you.
You
I
should
just said that,
sing.
Tito. I can help. I can host if you want me to. I've done it for our GK group in Houston, Texas,
Mhm.
the virtual concert, I believe in October or November last year. So they got me to host that concert. If you want me to,
Wow, that's amazing.
and Chrissy also said that you should work with Sophie Sweets. She said that Sophie, is that right? Sophie Sweets, right? Let me just make sure that I read it correctly. Yeah. She said, Chrissy said that she's organized the concert before.
Mm. Amazing.
One of the virtual concert we had in Houston, well, it was organized or hosted by the Houston group by GK Houston, but the performers were actually from, one from there. There's a couple who logged in from New York or New
Got it.
Jersey. Yeah. So and then we have a singer, an opera singer that was that logged in from Houston, but they weren't like in the same place.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We're in the same place necessarily. So, I mean, obviously it will be more special if you're all in one place, like, especially because it's your family, right? But you can do it even though you come from different places. So um, so we have a comment from Clara Cyclo.
Oh.
Amazing,
My
Leonora
sister.
Cyclo.
She lives in Houston, so I was gonna
Oh, there you
mention.
go.
Yeah.
There you go. And then Christine Saplala also said you can collaborate with other young adults as well. So maybe you and your family can provide the talent, the music talent, but everyone, a lot of people are willing to help out with other things, right? Like even promoting the concert to make sure that, that people will log in and, support Gawad Kalinga by listening to your music and all of that stuff. So it's going to be a community, effort, right? So this is our GK USA community, right? Even Gawad Kalinga Philippines, community. We're really in one Gawad Kalinga community, which is a really caring, community. That's what it means, right? Gawad Kalinga is giving care or to give care. So that's how we give care, we care for each other, is that we also support each other's work for the benefit of the poor in the Philippines. All right. Well, any last final message that you might want to share, especially with young adults, young people like you, who might be looking for something meaningful to do or meaningful to be a part of, right? Something that would inspire them and maybe not only change other people's lives, but really change their own life in the process. Any final message?
Yeah, I do. I think my advice for anyone, looking to help is don't be shy to get out of your comfort zone. I didn't know what to expect when I went to the Philippines. and it's okay not to know. And but what is important is to get out there and try to get involved, and then you're going to find the people and the community that will allow you to be able to help. But the first step is to really get out there and get out of your comfort zone and try to see how you can contribute.
All right, that's fantastic. That's amazing. Yeah, you don't have to figure everything out. You don't have to know everything, right? And
right, yeah. And I think there are a lot of different ways to help in a lot of different places, but what makes it special is when you make it personal, when you make it your personal story, your personal journey, and you go and meet the people and understand how you can best fit in, because from a distance it's hard to understand how you can help, and you really have to go and meet people to understand the needs better, and make it part of a personal story.
I love that. I love that. I think that's also the data scientist part of you that's speaking, because I think a lot of times when we try to help people, we prescribe things for them, right? Without really understanding, knowing who they are and understanding what their needs are. And sometimes, we fail to know that they actually have ideas on how to help themselves and how to, better to improve their lives. And they just need a little bit of support, a little bit of, right? So I think, that's probably your data scientist hat speaking there, where, you need to understand what their situation is, and maybe understand what ideas they might have to, to better their lives, and where you come into the picture, like you said, how you can best help them. Well, thank you so much again, Leonor, for joining.
Thank you so much for having me.
You have truly enriched my life with this conversation. I look forward to meeting in person, hopefully soon. I look forward to the concert with your family. And wait a minute, there's more comments coming in. Oh, Dan says, hold on, there's a couple before I wrap up here. From Dulce Matias, a pleasure to have you, Leonor, as part of GK. I'm looking forward to that virtual concert event. And also from Dan Bercasio, maraming salamat, Leonor. All of us are looking forward to welcome you back together with your family. I got a little bit choked up with that. It's really a simple message, but I truly felt that, that your connection with Dan and, and how that 2-month, stay in the Philippines have changed your life, his life, and the life of the families you touched in the Philippines. So on behalf of the Filipino people, I thank you for, for spending time knowing us and understanding, our culture, maybe, more so than other fellow Filipinos. And that is truly an invitation, for us, for me, for myself and other fellow Filipinos to maybe, understand our culture and our people a little bit more. And so that we can give more and we can help more and we can, lift our country out of poverty, right? So again, thank you so much for joining me this evening. And thank you everyone for joining Leonor and myself. Make it a habit every Thursday night, 5 p.m. Pacific. Please join us for another episode of Kwentong GK. Be blessed and be a blessing to others. Good night, everyone.